welcome to H2c Perspectives, where we talk about all things hospitality technology, from the latest trends to practical insights for optimizing your systems. In today's episode, we will be discussing a critical part of the tech selection process, request for proposals, short RFPs. Specifically, we will cover when an RFP should be conducted, who should be involved, and all the other things to think about. Feel free to share your thoughts or questions in the comments. And joining me today is Kristen, director at h2c, and our go-to expert on RFPs and the implementation of new tech systems in hotel chains.
Hi, everyone.
To start, can you explain what an RFP is and when it should be conducted?
Sure. An RFP is a formal document used to gather proposals from potential vendors. So let me give an example. If you've had your PMS or CRS for 3 to 5 years, and you want to assess whether it's still the right fit for your company, if there are better systems available, or if your pricing is still competitive, an RFP helps you do that. And it outlines your system requirements and ensures you're making an informed decision by comparing options and ensuring that the new system meets your needs and integrates well with your current tech as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, who should be involved in the RFP process within the hotel or organization?
Well, when conducting an RFP, it's essential to involve a cross-functional team. So key stakeholders should include representatives from IT, operations, revenue, marketing, basically all the departments that will use the system most frequently. And it needs to be ensured that the system integrates with the existing technology, and the end user departments need to provide valuable insights into functionality and also efficiency. And the RFP process is also a great opportunity to review and improve your current processes, involving the end users, such as on-property staff for systems like the PMS, is crucial to ensure the system meets the day-to-day operational needs. And of course, you can also involve a consultant that can support you in the overall RFP process.
Mm-hmm. And how should hoteliers decide which vendors to include in the RFP process?
Hoteliers can begin by researching vendors that offer the system that is being reviewed by using online resources, but also checking references from similar hotels or businesses. Mm-hmm. And then at h2c, we start by creating a top 10 criteria list for the new system. So these are the key features or requirements that are non-negotiable for the hotel chain or hotel. Mm-hmm. And you can then send these criteria as initial questions to the vendors that you identify during your research. And based on their responses, you can narrow down to 3 to 5 vendors for the detailed RFP process.
Okay. So how would you suggest getting started with an RFP process?
Yeah, start by gathering all key stakeholders for a brainstorming session. So discuss the project's goals, your long-term strategy, the required system interfaces, and which operational processes need improvement. And don't forget to consider your digital guest journey, how the system or the new system fits into it, and what tasks it should cover. And then basically write your specifications list. And don't just rely on ChatGPT for that. This is about your requirements and your processes, and those are the key focus. So use it as a helping hand, but don't rely on it completely.
And then what would be the next steps in the RFP process?
Yeah, so I already mentioned the specifications document. That should have all the detailed requirements. And you can also use a weighting system to prioritize the most important features. And after sending it out to the vendors and then receiving their responses, review the responses carefully against your specifications and weightings. And based on the evaluation, narrow it down to the top 2-3 vendors that best meet your requirements. And then finally, invite the shortlisted vendors for a workshop to gather a deeper understanding of their solutions and assess how well they fit both functionally and on a personal level.
Some hotel chains prefer to skip the formal RFP process and jump straight into workshops. What's your opinion on this approach?
Yeah, I believe both approaches definitely have their merits. So, for instance, when exploring a completely new idea that isn't widely available in the market yet, there may not be much to compare in terms of specifications. So, in such cases, brainstorming workshops with vendors can be useful to see if your ideas are feasible. However, for established products, I think incorporating an RFP process with a specification sheet is valuable. Skipping the RFP could leave you without a structured comparison of vendors. So, from experience, workshops can be influenced by how well the presenters communicate and structure their sessions, which then may overshadow the actual product's capabilities. So, that's why I recommend using both. Start with an RFP to narrow down your options, and then use the workshops for a deeper dive into the shortlisted solutions.
And can you let us know what are some key takeaways from your experience with RFP processes?
Sure. One of the biggest advantages of RFP processes is the clarity it brings to the decision making. The structured approach allows you to compare vendors side by side, ensuring no key detail is missed. And another important key takeaway is the value of cross-departmental involvement. So getting insights from IT, operations, and end users is vital so that the chosen system meets the technical as well as the functional needs of your company. And one of the most interesting parts of an RFP are the provider presentations or workshops. So the chemistry between the teams and the vendor's vision can significantly influence the decision. It's not always the vendor with the best functionality or the lowest price that wins the RFP. And that's why combining a thorough RFP with workshops is ideal, as it provides both a structured evaluation and an opportunity to assess the chemistry with the vendor.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing your experience. Final question: how can hoteliers ensure the RFP process stays on track and meets deadlines without becoming overwhelming?
Yeah, definitely a critical aspect. Keeping the RFP process on track requires careful planning and a clear communication strategy. So start by assembling the project team and informing all relevant stakeholders about your intention to run an RFP. And then set realistic timelines for each stage. So RFP preparation, vendor responses, evaluation, workshops, and so on. And then stick to them as closely as possible. Also, assigning a dedicated project manager or project lead to coordinate stakeholders and keep the process moving is essential. So make sure to allocate sufficient time for the evaluation, as this can't be done easily alongside regular activities or duties. So make sure to delegate tasks or bring in external resources if needed. And to avoid being overwhelmed, focus on your most critical requirements early on and set firm deadlines for vendors to keep the process streamlined.
Great. Thanks, Kristen, for those valuable insights.
Sure, my pleasure.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. If you have any questions, feedback, or topics you would like us to cover in future episodes, please reach out via our website at h2c.de or connect with us on LinkedIn. And stay tuned for our next episode. Make sure to follow us on LinkedIn to catch all our updates and announcements.